Do you want to know what I think? I think the wellness industry is off the rails. Completely off the rails. And here's the thing. I have been in the health and wellness industry in some capacity for the past 13 years. What started out was really fun and very beautiful, like blossoming communities, has now become just an absolute nightmare. Back in the day, you would eat healthy, you would exercise, and you would live your life. Now you have to have the perfect amount of protein. You have to lift weights 500 times a week. You have to inject peptides or GLP-1s so that you look the specific trendy way. But don't worry, a couple years ago, everybody was like making artificial enhancements to certain body parts to keep up with that trend. And everybody has a label for what they're doing. You're keto, you're carnivore, you're paleo. Veganism's not in anymore, throw that away. We're eating 150 grams of protein when we weigh 100 pounds. We're eating 200 grams of protein when we weigh 120. Protein, it's everywhere all the time. You can't have a single meal, you cannot put a single item of food into your mouth without excess protein. And then you have the fitness side of things, where every studio that you walk into is like 95 degrees, and you're probably going to have to pick up some dumbbells when you're in there. Gone are the days where you could just go to your feel-good local yoga studio and just take a class in a normally heated room or not heated room, cold room, whatever it may be, and enjoy the experience for what it is. Everything is strength training. Everything is heated. Everything is following the trends. And I get it, you know, these businesses, it can be very challenging for fitness businesses to stay in business. And they almost have to kind of play into the trends. But the consumer is part of the problem because we are the ones that are also playing into the trends. And yeah, strength training is great. You want to build a healthy amount of muscle mass. Yeah, protein is good. We want to be eating protein throughout the day. These things are not bad, and that's not my message at all. What my message is that we take it too far. We always take things too far, and then we take it to the other end of the spectrum. So back in 2013, I was vegan. If you didn't know already, now you do. If you did, you know again. I was vegan. I went vegan overnight. I'm not going to bore you with the story, but back then, veganism was so trendy. I mean, from 2013 until now, when I am recording this, there have been so many products come out that are plant-based. And that doesn't mean that they're healthy because a lot of them are not. But that was the trend and everything followed that trend. Now, veganism is not considered trendy or healthy, and it is very much looked down upon in a lot of the health and wellness space. And so we took the veganism thing too far to veganism. And now we're taking it to carnivore. And we're taking it to high protein consumption that is primarily animal products. Swinging so extremely from one end of the spectrum to the other. And my goal, my mission, my purpose for myself, but also to share with everybody else, is that it does not have to be extreme. In fact, the less extreme you are, there's a caveat to this, but the less extreme that you are, the happier you're going to be, the more fulfilled you're going to be, the better you're going to feel. Because not only are we being influenced to eat and move in specific ways, but we are also being influenced to feel like we need a lot of these really expensive and high-end health and wellness products. You have your $1,000+ PEMF mat, your red light panels, your EMF harmonizers, red light shower heads, toothbrushes. All of your polyester clothes are super toxic, so you must get rid of them and then buy really expensive cotton and linen things in their place, while also giving the polyester clothes to the thrift store that is already overloaded with so many clothes because we all overconsume to begin with. You need to buy a perfect water filter, and this is the perfect one, even though I have no idea if you have well water or spring water or city water or what your circumstance is. This is the one for you. And here's my discount code so that you can buy it at a discount. And what happens is not only does your wallet start crying, but your nervous system starts crying too, because you are dysregulated as. So what was once a very empowering and exciting and supportive community is now just a toxic cesspool of everybody's extreme opinions and discount codes and affiliate links and judgments on what you're doing and why you're doing it wrong and how you should be doing it better, because this research study says this and this influencer says this and I believe this and this is the way. Here's the thing. There is not one way. Let me repeat that. There is not one way. Not a single one way. There's not. Because we are all individual humans. We all have different pasts, different genetics, different experiences, different thoughts, different ways of expressing and being and goals and dreams and visions, and everything is always different. So why would we think we all need this one morning routine, this one diet, this one calculation that will tell us the perfect amount of macros that we can consume? It doesn't exist, because we're all individual. And that is the missing link. The individuality is the missing link, because once you start to follow the individuality, everything changes. Everything changes. But it's hard to follow individuality when you're so afraid of everything that's around the corner that might be toxic. Maybe you buy a used book and you're like, oh my gosh, wonder if it lived in mold. Now there's mold in my house and what do I do? Or maybe you go somewhere and you sleep in the hotel sheets and they smell like fragrance and you're like, oh my God, it smells like fragrance. It's gonna mess up my hormones. What am I gonna do? And you're stressing out about every single thing. Your nail polish is toxic. Your lip gloss is toxic. Everything is toxic around you because that is the type of content you're consuming. And you feel like you're being educated and empowered. And you are being educated, but you're not being empowered because you're succumbing to the fear of life, of living this human experience. And yes, there is a plethora of toxins everywhere all the time. But you know what else there is? There's a plethora of divine wisdom and knowledge within you that knows how to heal, that knows the mechanisms that need to take place to spark that healing. And there are certain things and certain ways of being and doing that you can instill in your life to support that. But one thing that is not supportive is fearing everything all the time. Dare I say, ignorance is bliss. Because a lot of people in the health and wellness space need a big dose of ignorance, and they would maybe not heal completely, but they would make great strides in their healing. When the world seems so unsafe, your body is going to feel unsafe. And when you feel unsafe, you're not able to heal, you're not able to thrive, you're not able to experience life to the fullest. And what is the point of life if we are just seeking perfection from a health and wellness space? I am not here to attain perfect health. I am not here to reach the pinnacle health just because. I am here to live fully, and my body being healthy is a way that I can do that. Let's think of things like a car. So you have your car. Beep, beep. And your car is health and wellness. So what you do is you open the door and then you get into the car. And this car will take you where you want to go. I want to go to the beach because I've never been there before and I really want to see the ocean. Okay, here's your car. Get in. Here we go to the beach. The way that you get to the beach in your car is if you have the right amount of gas, if you've had an oil change, if you have good tires, if you have everything else that I don't know about cars in tip-top shape, because you want to be able to get there as efficiently and safely as possible. So you have the maintenance completed on your car, your health and wellness completed to make your physical body strong and capable of taking you where you want to go. And then you get into that vehicle of health and wellness and you go to that place. You go to the beach. When you get to the beach, you get out of the car and you go live your life. You go splash in the water, you go get an ice cream cone, you go talk to people, and you have the time of your life. The only way that you got to the beach and you had that amazing experience was because of the vehicle that took you there. If you're not taking care of your vehicle, if you're not sleeping well, if you're not fueling it properly, if you're not maintaining it in the right way, you might not get to the beach. But if you do get to the beach, you're going to be so stressed out because the process of getting there was like terrible. Maybe you broke down a couple times, or like it was really stressful because you thought you were going to break down. Like, that is the analogy of health and wellness. This is the vehicle to get you where you want to go, to live the life you want to live. You do not live for health and wellness at the end. You make your body physically healthy and well so that you can go live and have full experiences. And of course, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that eating healthy doesn't matter. It definitely does. There is all kinds of energetic stuff swirling around with food, which I will talk about in future videos. But attaining perfection with eating healthy and living health and wellness lifestyles is not the goal. Like I said, the goal is to be healthy so you can go have the experiences out in the world, so you can live life to your fullest. You can go be present with people you love and have fun experiences, conversations, connections. Those are the healing things. Experiences, conversations, connections with others will do so much more for your health than sitting at home and eating your perfectly balanced meal and doing all of your biohacks over and over and over again. Personally, whenever I reflect on times in my life when I was most happiest, I was not getting the perfect amount of sleep. I was not eating the perfect diet. I was probably eating out more than I typically ever do. And I was in community. I was connected to people. I was having experiences that lit me up. I was doing jobs that just set my soul on fire in a good way. When your life is aligned, health comes as a result. And yes, you build that foundation. The foundation is key. The foundation is the 80% lifestyle that so many people talk about. It is the foundation. But once you have that foundation, that 20% of the time you go out into the world and you live and you thrive because you feel good already. But then you also have that surrender aspect where you can just let it all go and truly live. And so when I work with clients, we very rarely, actually, I will say never. We never start by killing parasites or mold or Lyme or dealing with heavy metals or anything like that. That is not the starting place. A lot of people will tell you that's the starting place, and they will sell you super expensive testing to see, what's wrong with you. But that is getting way ahead of the game. The initial place to start is foundations. It is removing all of that junk, all of those supplements, everything that is clouding your field so that we can see what's left. We can see what's there. And a lot of times people realize, they're like, oh my God, the things that I was consuming supplement-wise, lifestyle-wise, internet-wise are what was making me sick. It wasn't gluten. It wasn't dairy. It wasn't my polyester t-shirt that was making me sick. It was the things that I was sold that were supposed to make me healthy. This isn't always, but this is a lot of times. You scale back, you start to go back to basics. You build a very solid foundation of health. And from there, the skies open up and you can see clearly with where you need to go and what you need to do. And a lot of times it's not that complicated. We as humans just like to complicate things. Simplicity is the superpower when it comes to health. Fun, relationships, connection, soul fulfillment are the keys. Living as stress-free as possible. Stress is the root of everything, in my opinion. If you are stressed, getting that stress under control, not suppressing it, addressing it. Because then you can build resiliency in your body, your mind, and your spirit. And you will find that the way that you live your life becomes the medicine more than any protocol or fancy supplements ever could. And that's all I have to say for today. I hope this was helpful. If you would like to work with me, that is down below. You can also find the links for everything else that I have going on, everywhere else that I'm at online, link down below as well. Let me know in the comments what your experience or what your thought is about all of this. I would love to hear from you. And with that, I will see you next time.